up here and see what this guy's got. It says the outdoor unit doesn't come on, but it's downstairs. Probably not a drain line, but we'll figure it out. No, I was just double checking the breaker and kind of getting my meter out.
Really as clean as it was last time I looked in there.
Yeah, they tend to get a little dusty, which I have a light if I need one, and you don't have a float switch, so that's what I was looking for.
Okay.
I mean, I still may have to go trace a circuit or something if the thermostat's not calling. So he's going in the house for something, I don't know. But I said the outdoor unit does not come on and run. So let's see if we can figure out why. Hold on. Got a fault light flashing right there. 3, 4, 8. Got a fault code flashing on the board here.
Oh, okay.
2, 3.
Yeah. That's probably a good thing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, it's flashing different numbers. So let's. So far, I've gotten a 2, a 4, a 7, and an 8. So a 2, 4, a 7, and an 8. So let me see. A 2 coil temperature sensor is reading out of range or open. Or 4 hard lockout. 7 time to defrost. 8 time defrost. So it seems like according to the fault list, those faults are related to the issue with this coil temperature sensor reading out of range. It's going to be this one.
Yep.
And
It's
not,
definitely gonna be out of range
it's
if
not
it's
plugged up.
if it's unplugged. That's strange.
I don't know. Well, it's just tight. So let me reset the board.
Huh. No way.
I didn't do it.
No, I know.
Nobody else has been here messing with it?
Somebody came out a while ago, and I don't even know what they did. It wasn't a. They had to come out and there was some humidity control sensor or something.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe they were setting themselves up for a return call.
Yeah,
I don't know.
apparently it would look.
Because that doesn't just come off.
No,
I mean, it would have been on there like that.
Yep.
I mean, they're zip tied in from the factory like that.
Would
so.
that have run up and around like that?
Yeah, they do some funny things. I mean, those are the factory zip ties. So they still do it now in the new train and American Standard stuff. It's easy to work on because everything's on this side. It's not down inside it like most your reverse and auto stuff is usually in there. At least here you can kind of get to it and test stuff. But anyway, so is the thermostat on?
I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead and turn it on. Turn it down to about 60 degrees or something.
All right.
So if you weren't paying attention, this coil sensor was reading out of range and it was off. It was just sitting there. He said somebody came out and did something with some humidity control issues on this unit. I wonder if they unplugged that, because that doesn't just come unplugged. It's been 1.5 years since I've been here, and I worked on that one over there. I know I didn't do it, or we'd have had a problem last year. So that's kind of funny. So our fault code's cleared, and it's on and running. So it was just locked out because of that. It's an easy call for a Saturday.
We had them out here. I'm trying to remember this. We had them out here because the unit kept freezing up.
This one?
Yep.
Well, that could have very well done it. Because that coil temperature sensor is what? You got your ambient sensor there, which is under the bottom. Reads outdoor temperature, reads your coil temperature. And the way this defrost cycle works in this thing is most manufacturers just put a coil temperature switch, and when the coil gets below a certain temperature, it closes, and that lets the defrost board know every 30, 60, 90 minutes go to a defrost cycle. With that, it's reading outdoor ambient and the coil temperature sensor, and it's kind of waiting until the right combination of temperatures are below a certain range, then it will go into a defrost. Now, if that was unplugged and it wasn't reading this coil temperature sensor, it may have gone into defrost, or it may not have gone into defrost, because it would have been waiting for this one. When it goes into defrost, it doesn't matter. You know, the outdoor temperature may be below its threshold, but it's waiting for this one to sense the warmth, or this coil as it heats up in defrost. When it gets above like 68 or 64 degrees, it'll terminate and go back into heating mode.
So I wonder if they unplugged that.
Testing it, didn't put it back.
Or would that have been a solution to it?
No.
Okay.
No. I don't necessarily know why it was freezing up, because I wasn't here for that. Refrigerant. This lets me hook up to a unit and minimize what I'm taking out of it. Every time you hook hoses to it, those hoses take the refrigerant away. You can open them and kind of bleed some of it back, but I can hook these up, and when I'm done, that's it. I haven't taken any refrigerant with me. Yeah, now if I see a problem, we need to add some refrigerant to it, or I need to come back and replace a coil that's leaking, or whatever. I can hook gauges for the recovery machine, vacuum pump, stuff like that. It's just kind of a non-invasive way. I mean, I can add refrigerant with these. I've got a fitting that I can put on there and put this on it, hook my hose to it, hook it to the tank, and I can still add. But I mean, the pressures aren't looking bad. What's the temperature inside?
It was, I guess I did it 60, but it was 70 something.
Yeah, just a rough idea, just for my pressures. So he had another company out here with us, and he had a defrost problem. And evidently they didn't figure it out, or they unplugged that, testing it, and didn't plug it back up, or something. I don't know. So should have called me. But maybe he tried to. I don't know. The full-time job.
60 and ambient 72.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm just trying to get an idea of what it is in there. Showing about a 13 degree subcooling on it, plus or minus 3. Acceptable for this one. So, that, and pressures look good on it. Yeah, you got to kind of be a little careful these days. It's temperature control system rejuvenation performance. What is that supposed to be?
Exactly. And then something about some sensors.
Some sensors, that might have been it. I'm going to test that sensor and we'll see if it's reading within range real quick. There should be a chart if the book is still here. I can check that sensor.
Defrost control system rejuvenation performance and safety testing. 30-day warning. 30-day warranty. This is just the board. $650.
Okay.
Temperature control system performance. Same exact temperature control system rejuvenation, performance and safety testing. And then it says sensors. $350.
So they quoted you $1,000 to replace that board and the sensor.
Okay.
Temperature control rejuvenation. Yeah, you gotta be careful how some people word things sometimes. Like we've had people that go out and so you can't look it up online.
Right.
And tell people this is
Flux capacitor.
the voltage absorption system, and quote it out for like $400.
To know that that's what it is that needs done.
Yeah, I try not to get too crazy. You get some companies that got high overhead and a lot of vans on the road, a lot of people to pay and things like that. And it doesn't matter how big they are, only one person shows up to the house, and you don't necessarily know if that's the youngest guy, the newest guy, or what. So you kind of got to be a little careful. But when they're wording stuff like that, they're trying to cover something up, so you can't research it or either make it sound more
Right.
more scientific than it really is. So my temperature is reading 60 degrees right now, so I'm gonna check this sensor real quick. See if it should correlate with something on this chart.
What should that be?
It should be reading close to 60. So unless it actually is bad, they just left it this way. $13. So I'm getting 13.5 kilo ohms, and 13.2 on this chart is 65 degrees. So 13.5 would be a little bit less than 65, closer to 60. I'm reading 60, so that sensor's reading correct. Let me check the outdoor sensor real quick. See what it's reading. These are the two that control that, the defrost. So this is 15.7. 15.7, 15.3 is 59, 15.7 would be 55. It's 56 degrees out here roughly. So unless it's an issue with the board, we could run it in heat. I could run a defrost test on it, but it's not cold enough for it to go into defrost outside, because the outdoor ambient's going to be reading above what its threshold is. So I just say, see how it does next winter, and if it freezes up and you have a problem, give me a call.
Okay. Yeah.
But the charge is good, so I don't think it's going to be a refrigerant problem. It's not a sensor problem. It could be an issue with just the control board. I just wasn't here for that, so I don't know what they found, but the same sensor's plugged in the new board. You don't need to replace the sensors. Some people will recommend, if you're going to do it all.
Yeah.
But I mean, it would cost $1,000 to do that.
Yeah, those dogs.
Yeah, it'd be different, I guess, if they could see what they were barking at. They might get quiet.
Yeah. Nope, they don't.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime we step outside onto the back porch and there's no way they can see us, they somehow sense that we're outside and just start barking.
Yeah, so bark, make noise.
Yep.
Lady behind me's got a Doberman. And every time he comes out to do his thing, he comes out in the yard, he lets everybody know he's outside for a little while. And I've got a boxer pit mix, and then she catches the sight of him, and then they stand there and they bark at each other for about 5 minutes. But I'll just snap my fingers. Maddie, come on, let's go. She comes right back in, and she comes outside. Stop, come here. And he don't pay her any mind at all. He just keeps barking.
Yeah. So would having that wire unplugged trick the system into doing something that it might not have been able to be doing?
Coil sensor? No. I mean, it should run an air conditioning. Problem was, it being unplugged, the board couldn't read it. So it was like suddenly, oh, my sensor's either bad or it's out of range. And it'll start going into a lockout. And it may, if your last bill with significant heating time on it was high, it may have already been locked out. You may have been running on your backup, your emergency heat, your heat strips a lot. It could have already been locked out. That's the thing. You run your heat, your auxiliary heat runs, even though this isn't out, the temperature will drop, those will come on. Maybe that was just enough to maintain that temperature down there. But once you put the air conditioning on, this is all you got. So if this isn't working, you got no air conditioning. Yeah. So yeah, I don't, not being here for what that problem was, I can only speculate, but those two sensors are reading perfectly fine. As long as it stays plugged up and it's reading them, it shouldn't go back into a lockout or any of that unless there's a problem with the board.
Okay.
So, and like I said, I don't know what they were looking at when they were here, so I can only speculate what the problem might have been. But and these will run without that. It'll run in cooling without the board in it. You can bypass it. It really is just required for heat mode and defrost. You want it in there when the winter comes around. But
we did get a crazy electric bill.
You want me to test that capacitor while I'm here? Before it gets hot. And it runs and starts going crazy. I mean, it's the down.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and check it just to be sure.
Yeah.
But that's typically what's going to get in the first spell of hot weather.
Yep.
That's what goes first most of the
that
time.
one's already
But this
busted
is your downstairs unit, so.
Oh no, it was the upstairs unit last time. I had you out and you didn't.
I put a contactor in the.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
The other one?
Yeah, I didn't put a capacitor in it. I don't think. But it's just one of those things, and this one doesn't run this one runs harder in the winter. Upstairs runs harder in the summer.
Yeah.
It's hot air rises, so that the load's on that one in the summer, and then the load's going to be on your downstairs unit in the wintertime. But, we'll test it while I'm here, because I'd hate to. About 5 or 6 weeks from now, it get 90 degrees for 8 days in a row, and then it goes out again.
That board's still flashing.
The green, that's just the status light, the green light. If it's flashing red light, you got a fault.
Okay. Green good.
Green good, red bad. So. 32.6. 4.9.
What's optimal on resistance?
So this is 35.5. So it's reading 32.6. So typically I'll go 10% on them.
Okay.
So 10% of 35 would be 3.5. So that would be what, 31.5. So it's above that threshold. And it's your downstairs unit, so like I said, it's not going to cycle on and off or run as hard as your upstairs does. So where'd the brown wire go? Right there. Probably be okay. If it was reading like 30, then I'd probably say, yeah, you might want to. But I don't know if that's the original. It's got a train D150, so train style part number on it, so that maybe the original capacitor came out.